High School. Mike earned his law degree from Vanderbilt University and worked in private practice in Nashville before moving to Jackson to start his own business and work in the community. Mike is the chairman of the bank board of First State Bank, headquartered in Union City, and serves on the board of directors for the Jackson Energy Authority. As governor, Mike will work with Tennesseans from all 95 counties to create more good-paying jobs across the state. He will work to give our students the education they need to be successful after graduation, and will work to ensure Tennesseans have access to affordable, quality health care. Mike will follow the examples of his father, former Governor Ned McWhirter, and Governor Phil Bredesen by standing up for working families and applying his common sense business experience to state government. Please help me welcome Mike McWhirter, candidate for governor.
David, thanks for that nice introduction. I appreciate that. I'm delighted to be back here again. I will tell y'all a story about something that happened to me the last time I was here at the very end of my comments that I want to share with you. But I'm delighted to be back in Oak Ridge this morning. And it's interesting to me that it always seems to fog over when I come. I am running for governor of Tennessee, and I've been now, I think, yesterday, I've got to tally it up, but I believe I've been in my 44th county. I've got a couple more counties I'm going to make while I'm over in this part of the state. I think it's important to get out and visit in all 95 counties all across the state for any candidate who is running for governor for the whole state of Tennessee. But you know, the reoccurring question I get as I go across this state is, Mike, knowing what the tough economic challenges are, why would you want to run for governor now? And I will tell you, the answer for me is very simple. As you look out across this state and you look across our landscape, we have seen thousands of jobs literally disappear as small factories have closed. You know, the state unemployment rate right now is hovering under 11%. That is the highest it's been since 1982. That's the highest it's been in my working lifetime. Tennessee needs a governor who will put the creation and maintenance of jobs front and center on the agenda. And that's why I'm running for governor. I'm a businessman. I am not a career politician. Y'all can probably tell that. But I see some huge challenges when I look out across our state in areas such as health care and in education and now in unemployment. From day one, for the next governor of this state to be successful, that person's got to be somebody with the skills and the background who understands how to build this economy, how to create jobs, and I think most importantly, how to maintain jobs right here in Tennessee. How will that be done? I know it's going to sound like a cliche, but we have to get greater accountability out of state government. You've got to put people ahead of politics. We have to build an education system in this state to allow our kids to compete on a global basis. And you've got to be able to balance the state budget without an income tax in such a way as not to harm essential services for our working families, but at the same time be able to maintain the revenue to build our infrastructure so that we can continue to create jobs. These are challenges I can meet because I have spent my lifetime in the trenches of business and creating jobs. But I want to give you just a small snapshot of my background. I know many of you know me as Ned McWhirter's son, or that might be all you know about me. But let me tell you a little bit about myself. I did go through public schools in Union City from kindergarten through the 12th grade. And it's interesting to me to be in Oak Ridge because there's no other community I could say this in, but Union City public schools were really a fine education system. They might not say it because I graduated, but I always always knew we were competitive with the city of Oak Ridge for being the #1 school system in the state. And Oak Ridge every year beat us. We were never #1. Oak Ridge was the #1 school system. Like most kids, I grew up mowing lawns in the summertime. I worked at my grandmother's cafe in Dresden. She had a meat and three cafe over there. I was bussing tables from the time I could almost walk. And by the way, that's a job my father had when he was a youngster. She owned that cafe for about 40 years, so we both worked there. I went on to college, and then I obviously went on to law school. And in the summers I came home from college, I worked at the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company in Union City. My job was to hand stack the tires. It didn't take a lot of intelligence to do that, but I had to hand stack the tires onto the trailers for shipment out of that plant. I've hauled a little hay in my life, and I can tell you, standing out there in those trailers in 100-degree weather is about as close to hauling hay as any job you're ever going to find. Then in 1985, I took a leave of absence from my law practice in Nashville to work in my father's campaign. I traveled all 95 counties in that campaign. I learned a lot about Tennessee, and I learned a lot about Tennesseans' dreams for their future of their state. A few years later, I got a chance to fulfill a dream of my own. I got a chance to buy a business in Jackson, Tennessee. I borrowed the money. I took that risk, but I will say it's only with the help of the great people in our company we paid back our debts, we built our business, and I believe we've been a good organization for our community. On the home front, well, let me also tell you a little bit more about my business background. I happen to be the chairman of the board of a small community bank in West Tennessee, as well as serve as a director for Jackson Energy Authority. And Jackson Energy Authority is our local utility that supplies all the industrial services and as well as residential resources, from wastewater to electricity to natural gas to now, I think most importantly, broadband. JEA recognized early on that in order to attract and maintain industry in our area, we had to have a good broadband program. It has been essential to bringing industry into our area. And I believe that that is one of the major components that we have to look at for industrial development as we look at developing all of our rural communities all across the state, not only for industrial purposes, but also for educational purposes. On the home front, let me say, I've been married to the same great gal, Mary Jane, for 20 years. We've got 2 kids. They have just turned 18 and 16 this fall. And now that I've got one that is looking at going off to college and entering the workforce, my dreams for both of them are that they can live in this state where they can find good paying jobs, have adequate, affordable health care, and be able to raise families of their own. You know, now for that to happen, for that entire generation of Tennesseans across the state, our state has to have smart, savvy leadership. My father taught me the difference that leadership can make. Leadership can make a huge difference, and I want to turn and talk to y'all about Oak Ridge right now. Leadership can make a major difference in helping to develop the uranium processing plant at Y-12 here. Oak Ridge is a major economic engine for this region, and the governor has to be an advocate for developing that process and developing that plant. It'll mean hundreds of construction jobs as well as hundreds of long-term, good-paying jobs in this region.